morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order today. Today is March the 20th. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the Islands Community Improvement District. We should note for the record that a copy of the notice and the affidavit are on file at the district's office at 5672 Strand Court. We have a quorum here today. We have four supervisors present: Mr. Tisch, Baird, Ms. Hanson, and I don't know whether Mr. McAfee is on by Zoom or not. In addition, we also have Chief Truckee here. Steve, are you on this morning? Apparently not, but we otherwise have the other four members.
Yeah, I'm here, Neil.
Sorry.
I'm here.
Thank you for that. That takes us down then to the approval of the agenda. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions to the agenda? And we should also note that Ms. Brakefield is here today from our General Counsel's office. Any additions to the agenda? If not, you can entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Your motion?
I make a motion.
Second. The motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't have anyone register in advance for public comment today, but are there any public comments for matters that are not on today's agenda? Any at all? Okay, and with that, and as a reminder, at the conclusion of today's meeting, there is an open house that will be at the community utility site. Everyone is invited to that open house. There'll be no business conducted there today. It's purely social. But the utility site, if you're familiar with it, is across the highway in Union Road up there on the right-hand side. And so it's very casual, but we will adjourn the meeting and then reconvene for the open house there and tours and question and answers, things that we would encourage all of you to come. Item 4 today are the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, that being the meeting of February the 23rd. They were submitted in advance, but happy to entertain any amendments to those. Lenore, did Zach have any?
He did not.
Okay.
The only one was the utility operating, his name needs to be changed, Matt's last name. The rest of my knowledge.
That's correct. And she's already made that change, so left me a sticky note here to that effect. So with that, if there are no other revisions to the minutes, you can entertain a motion to approve the minutes of February the 23rd.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Russ, make the second. I didn't get it. The monthly utility report, Matt is here, and Matt, we'll ask you to review that at this time.
Morning, Ward.
Good morning.
Morning. All right. Operations at facilities were throughout the month were in accordance with contract and regulatory requirements. All wastewater plant requirements were met, and all water distribution requirements were met. Reuse pump system at the plant worked as intended. Last month we received 2.4 million gallons of wastewater. We produced 3.37 million gallons of drinking water, and we distributed 9.2 million gallons of reused water. The We didn't read meters last month. We did have some rereads from the previous month. We used 580 gallons of chlorine. We inspected all pump stations weekly. We performed odor control checks and greased all pumps and motors. I apologize, for some reason the additional maintenance didn't get updated. That's the same bit from January. That was my fault. We didn't really have anything major. We had a couple backflow leaks, and we had, we went around and checked all the timers, changed the batteries and the auto flushers, just did a lot of general maintenance stuff. But overall, there was nothing really to add to it anyway, so it was a quiet month, which is always good. We had no accidents or incidents, and completed all of our safety training.
How come we had 30% less wastewater treatment in February versus January? Let's see. Or thereabouts, you know?
Oh yeah, very good.
Like almost.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's a good question. I can go back. We did have trouble with the inflow meter, which is what measures the raw water coming into the plant. I noticed this month that it was off from the effluent meter. They should be pretty close to each other. It was like half of what the effluent meter was. So we were having it calibrated this month. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe that meter's having trouble.
Any other questions? Motion to accept the utility report?
I make a motion to accept the utility report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
We have everything set up over there. We're ready for the open house. We have tables, chairs, drinks, lunch. So I'm prepared to eat, hang out, and we'll be giving everybody tours of the plant.
Good. Look forward to that.
No problem.
Matt, one thing, I walked up into our storage pond there, right? The storage around it. the
Yep.
Plant.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that still has all the trees from Soto, and I talked to you a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
I know we asked Soto, I personally called Soto and asked him a couple times, I know you were on that, about getting those trees out of there. I think as a board, I don't like to ask somebody to do a job and pay them to do 3 times. All right,
He's got a tree guy. What about your tree guy, Kevin?
I'll talk to him again. He said that he's working on that as we speak.
That's the same thing he told me last time he was working on.
It's been a year, right?
What's
It
that?
seems like it's been a year.
It's been a long time, and he's been asked to get those out of there. Actually, it's part of our, we paid him to do it, to remove those trees.
So,
I think at this point, I would ask Soto if he likes working for the CID. Because I know it sounds harsh, but he's been asked several times to do it. And it just doesn't happen. So at this point, either we'll have somebody else come in and take care of it, or.
yeah, what kind of trees are they?
They're just trees that grow in the pond, but
Just
they can't be there.
There are basics like leaf and willow and stuff like that. I did talk to Soto yesterday because he was working, he had his crew over at the plant yesterday doing some cleanup, general maintenance in the landscape. And he did say that, I did mention that pond to him, but he did say that he did clean it out over the past year. He said maybe it just needs it again, so I don't know.
These aren't new trees.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just relaying what he said, but I brought it up to him.
Okay.
But either way.
It's normally there on Mondays, so you want to walk around. Tell them, yeah, either do it or we'll have somebody do it in credit.
Yeah, I put that tree down.
I mean, I get it.
It's just trees.
You got a tree guy.
We have to keep that berm free of trees too, because if we ever had to use that retention pond, the rules I know on retention ponds are you can't have trees because it makes channels for water.
Right. Yeah, when it's the roots grow through the berm, the water will follow the roots
All
through the berm.
Right.
Until
So in
it-
order to be a retention pond, we have to keep the trees off the berm and out of the inside of it, so.
And somebody planted some mango trees over there. I love mangoes, but they're gonna be a problem for the berm down the road.
Take them all.
I'll talk to Soto and do the ultimatum, and then I'll have my tree guy as a backup.
Okay.
Well, if we have to pay a tree guy, then we have to make sure that Soto's check reflects that he did
Yeah.
not do the work.
Right.
And his current scope or his base fee includes the tree trimming or pruning for those trees?
I think it's an additional thing we paid him for.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think.
all right, so it's not part of the base contract, but in the event that there be no further supplemental invoices for tree trimming, if we have to make another arrangement.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll leave it to you, Kevin. That's-
Yeah, no problem. You ever hear anything about that gate back there?
I called the park department on the gate, and they were surprised as I was.
Really?
Yes. So they said they would look into it and get back to me.
Okay.
What happened again?
The gate behind the plant that goes across with the state sign on it is gone.
So you take the gate out?
It's gone. I don't know. It's gone. So, the park department wasn't very excited about that, and I was
I'm sure they-
surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm sure I'll be hearing back from them first of next week. And
Well, educate me, what was the gate for? To prevent what?
vehicle travel back there.
To pick you.
To the wellhead.
Yeah.
Is that for, oh, that's,
Because of water sewer plant, or our wellheads and things back there. And
so we have to, that's a regulation that we have to protect our water source, so.
I had heard that the fire department was around, but even they don't have the right to take the gate down, so.
Yeah.
There was an issue with the locks, right? It started with an issue with the
Yeah,
locks.
somebody changed the lock on us, and Johnson Engineering was here and needed access. So we cut the lock off to give them access, and one of our operators escorted Johnson Engineering out there. When he came back, one of the forestry guys almost arrested him for cutting the lock off. So luckily we were able to de-escalate the situation, but we need access to the well road,
I
so.
guess we need to put that to bed once and for all, whose gate is it and who
Well, it's a
has it?
shared gate. It's never gonna be one person's gate because we share that road with.
Yeah, there was always two locks on it. Like, we had a lock and they had a lock.
Yeah,
and then
lock, yeah, so
We came out one day and there was one lock and nobody told us about it, so.
Right. So,
But they found out that we cut the lock off right away, that they never found out the gate was gone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That was a forestry bill, that's not Parks Department, that's. So I don't know if the forestry, that was with the fire service kind of thing, if,
I wonder if when that big fire was going on, if they tried to access something from that direction.
right, but they've always opened the gate before. I mean, years ago, a few years back, when we had that big fire, they were in and out of there all the time.
Right, but somebody changed the lock and who knows?
Then you cut the lock.
I know, but you never know. Some people don't think like that.
I don't know. We'll know more as soon as the park department gets back there.
But we currently have our lock on the gate now, or there's a second lock?
Apparently there's no gate.
Okay, so they've taken the gate down.
Lock's still there, gate's gone.
But,
I don't know.
like I said, I think it's DHS, we're required to protect our water source.
Yes, they've got.
Yes.
So, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know
Just
what
put
your
a gate around our wellheads.
I don't know what your lease agreement is like for that strip of land that the wells are on and what authority that gives us, but.
You mean the road? Well, we share the road with the Parks Department, actually, we both own a piece of it, so we share that, but, so, two locks on it was a simple answer, right? I don't know,
First
We'll
order
find
of
out.
business is to get the gate back.
we need it back out.
Yeah, if you want us to take care of that, we can take care of it.
I'd like for you to go ahead and take care of it, because following 9/11, there are some requirements that public utility systems secure their utility facilities. And so, is the gate still there? Is it just down, or is it gone?
I actually haven't been there. Dan called me and said, hey, what
Did
happened?
not see it,
Are
did
the
not
posts
see it.
there or just the gate?
The
going?
posts are there.
The posts are there.
Tractor Supply has.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, it's like a cattle gate or a agricultural gate. Y'all make those arrangements, go ahead and send me a proposal, we'll look it around, we just need to have it gated.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I was working with the parts department because he'll put the gate back up.
I can call,
Okay.
the chief of the parks department over in Fat
Yeah,
because
I
we have a
called him.
relationship with him, so I can reach out to him and see what he has to say.
we want you to reach back up, that's who I talked to.
Jeremy Sweeney?
I had his secretary, he wasn't in, but
Okay.
she was very surprised.
I'll call him.
Okay,
Yep, no problem.
yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that, as long as we get a gate back up.
Okay. If they say it's gonna be more than a week or something, then you want us to just take care of it, or?
You know, if they're gonna put it back up, I'd say no,
Okay.
right, because they'll pay for it,
We can just hang a chain or something across temporarily.
temporary, yeah, we could do that. But, no, if they're gonna take care of it,
Okay,
we didn't take it down,
right,
I would say if they wanna take care of it, let them.
okay.
Thank you.
Can I give you some information on this? The road is actually owned by the gun range, and they're the ones who put the no public access signs there recently, because they didn't want people going up there. So the gun range needs to be involved. They own that first piece that goes up half a mile to the back hatch.
To the corner.
Right, the junction.
Yeah, it's on their property, but we have easement across that. So we have the right to go down there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The other thing about the gun range is I don't believe their fallout from their shotguns and things are supposed to come across there into the woods, and they do. They definitely do. So I'm not real pleased with the gun range. If you have to go down that road, you have to be careful not to look up sometimes, because it's raining BBs.
Well, that's where the incident occurred, because somebody they were biking or something, and they had some pellets rain on them. And so they called the sheriff or whatever, and that's when the gun range responded by putting up those no public access signs. In fact, they told Fakahatchee that the only people who could go up there were their employees, and they needed to have some kind of marked clothing on them for access. So there's technically, they're not against you, they're not saying you can't go there, but they don't want the public to go up there and then complain about the pellets.
I don't believe they can do that. I would challenge that they have the right to do that, because we have easement to get to our utilities. Then we own in the park department owns. So a lot of people have easement up that road. And if it's not safe to travel, that's an issue we gotta take up with the gun club.
And Jeremy Sweeney, the Fakahatchee manager, did go and speak with the gun range about this, and said that he would have all of his employees marked if they needed to up there.
Well, what about the parks department employees, or what about us, or our?
Yeah, I'm just giving his information, I know.
Yeah,
What's going on.
Thanks, yeah.
So they need to be in the conversation in the gun club.
It sounds that way.
Thank you.
Anything else, Matt?
Nothing else for me?
Item 6 today is
Thanks.
Is the man, yeah, we'll see in a little bit. Is the manager's report, the item 8 today, your old utility trailer with the mosquito spray rig on it was sold last week at the auction. They have one bid. It was $450, and so my staff who picked it up and arranged to get it to Estero said they were glad the trailer got to Estero. But there was a bid. The chemicals, the 55-gallon drum of chemicals was provided to the city of Everglades because they used that product. The mosquito control district did not, and they took a pass on it. But the old utility trailer was sold at the public auction last week. Item B today, and I passed out to you the PowerPoint slides from from your economist, Russ Wire. Russ, as you know, sold his firm at the end of the year. Looks like this. Everybody get one. Russ had committed to participate to review this update by Zoom and then canceled yesterday afternoon. I called him on the way down here this morning to see if he could do it at a time certain, but to ask him for his assurance that the report will be presented on schedule at next month's meeting. So I thought what I'd do is I'd sort of try to walk you through his slides in anticipation of any additional items that you want added to the scope before he submits his draft final report for your adoption at the April meeting.
Neil, can I ask a question? We have played this game with this guy for how long now? And it
4
just
months.
keeps going, and it just keeps going and going and going. This is costing this district a lot of money by not having this done, and it costs him nothing to keep putting us off. How long are we going to deal with this?
Okay, so,
You know, and not as an excuse, but I mean, he is sort of a sole source provider for economic work for CDDs, and this has not only been for this engagement, but for the last one that we did. He's overcommitted. I think the good thing is that he sold his firm and they closed, my understanding, in January. The new firm is a large statewide firm, PFM, that is based in Orlando. Actually, they're a national firm, but based in Orlando. And I contacted his new boss, which is how we got their contract approved at last month's meeting. All I can tell you, Steve, is what he's telling me, but this, it is difficult to get them to adhere to the schedule. He did submit these PowerPoint slides, and we were able to bring copies to the meeting today, and I was going through the scope as they understand it, but no, it's, you know, I think Russ and I had a conversation with him in October, and then you and I had a conversation with him in November, and then, you know, his son died unexpectedly, and I began dealing with the new company in January that resulted in your authorizing the contract last month. But it's, I think if we had an alternative, we would have pursued it.
Did we get a copy of this PowerPoint in our agenda packet?
We did not, because it wasn't received until yesterday afternoon at about 4 o'clock.
Exactly. Everything is always at the last possible minute.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This report, can the board get a copy of this report before the next April meeting, so we don't, I would like to be able to read it, digest it before the meeting.
I called him on my way down here this morning to tell him that I would need his report a week before the meeting, or essentially 3 weeks from today. And he affirmed that he would have the recommendations. He considers them a draft until they're adopted, but that he would have those. And since I was on the phone with him this morning, I will follow up and make sure he understands that in writing. But that my expectation and direction to him was that I would need it the Friday before the Friday meeting in April.
Why would we not expect that we're going to hear the same thing from him next month?
I can't promise you today that other than what he's telling me.
Yeah.
So I have a question. The concerns that Steve have on it, that I certainly have, I'm sure the rest of the board does, is that every month that goes by, there's a lot of billing, a lot of money left on the table because of what happened with the marina, or the hotel condos and the marina facility, things like that.
Marina condos and the Lindsay Case parcel.
Lindsay Case parcel, that's another one. That's a lot of money.
And the ERCs.
Can we go back when this finally does happen? Do we back bill that, or do we just start that day when it's how we're gonna handle it.
I think, Lenore, I might need your help here. My understanding is that when the marinas were converted to a condominium, that there was an SDP that was submitted that allowed them to expand that facility, but for which ERCs were due. And they were not built because at that time there was no basis for what the amount was. My impression is that we would build the marina condos at the time we have a prevailing rate as a result of the study. Because it was never paid when the condos were expanded and created.
Well, you're talking about the ERCs, right? That they didn't buy.
And the same is true for the case parcel. The sale of that land was tied to a takedown schedule, and those ERCs were to be paid over time. He got an extension and paid a fulfillment fee for that, but he's never paid his ERCs as well.
Okay, so that's one part of the puzzle. What about the way they got built? So right now they're splitting a 1 meter charge with 24 doors, right? We still have that issue, and that's a lot of money.
That, and are you talking about base fee now?
Base fee, that's all part of that. We haven't settled that.
We haven't, and we indicated that we would review that at mid-year when we had the actual unit counts tied to all of the buildings at the hotel that we now have. That is scheduled to be presented as part of our mid-year utility revenue review at next month's meeting.
Okay, it's both the hotel condos and the marina.
Yeah, and the implications to the marina are large. I mean, if you take, based off of the board's intent of the new rates, that aside from the equivalency factor, that the board would reserve the right to impose the actual number of units. So for example, if the marina has whatever it is, 175 total slips as part of the condominium, the bi-monthly base fee is $138. That is a big number. And so it works out to like, $69 per month times 175 base fee that is to be imposed in lieu of the old non-ad valorem assessment that was in place.
I think it was last year, did we, at one point, didn't the board rule to make that a 1 for their, that would be their ERC?
It's currently a 1 for operation.
Madam Chairman? Lisa?
Yeah?
I just want to put it back on the record again that I think that base fee for all of those marina slips is improper, that it should be back to that percentage that we worked for before. Thank you.
I'd like to put on the record that I think that's way too little money.
And we're talking for liveaboards?
With liveaboards, right.
But we're also talking about one on a single dock with nothing but a hose bib on it.
We do. So we discussed that a bit at other meetings where we would maybe do a break on that, but I can't go back to the 0.25. So.
If I
That's
can,
yours.
Okay. It's noted, it's in the record.
Okay, well,
But anyway, there's a lot of money on the table with all this stuff that keeps getting pushed back.
Well,
A lot of money.
like I said, let's wait for the report.
I do want to review the items that, since he submitted this as part of the scope that is in progress. The methodology reevaluation includes the following items. Parcels that have been split or aggravated. That gets back to the 1.5 lots or the double lots to consider reimposing prorated O&M assessments on 2 lots as opposed to 1, which it currently is. So that's one of the tasks as part of his assignment. The second reconsideration of assessments would be for county-owned lands to include the North Hotel site and any condominium pads that they own in Orchid Cove or other property that may be owned by the Board of County Commissioners. For example, we currently put assessments on the county ship store and marina. There's also separate assessments for the adjoining building that includes the fire station. The old hotel site in recent history has not paid any assessments, and so there would be part of his project is to give us a number of ERUs that would be for the old hotel site and Orchid Cove condo pads that are currently owned by the county through the tax certificate process. The third area that was part of the scope are commercial boat slips. Currently boat slips, to Mr. Tucky's point, are paying 1 ERU for operation and maintenance assessments. This would consider a higher rate of assessment for commercial slips, specifically designed as eco tours, fishing guides, jet ski or boat rentals, or anything that has a commercial application as opposed to personal recreational application. The second task on the list that is here is to create what the county and the industry calls an impact fee. Historically, they've been called ERCs here, equivalent residential connections, but there has never been an actual basis for what that impact fee is worth. And so we have provided them with a series of information, a utility technical memorandum and the balance sheets of what the existing utility assets are and what their replacement values would be and what the current depreciated values would be, so that they can create and recommend an impact fee or ERC charge for both water and sewer. Does not include irrigation, but there's never been any discussion about an irrigation impact fee. And while there are impact fees or ERCs that are unpaid for both the Lindsay Case parcel, those were negotiated separately as part of the acquisition process and the values that are established by the purchase contract. So with that, I'll see if there's any other input from the board. I'm as disappointed as you are that he committed and then canceled us for his presentation today. But the final recommendations by the agreement that we have are due to be considered and adopted at your April meeting on the condition that we get them at least a week ahead of the meetings that the board has intended those questions for. Stephen, when I get to the office, I'll send you a copy of these PowerPoint slides that he sent to us at the end of the day yesterday.
Thank you.
Can I get a copy of this too?
I gave everyone one, but
Just this.
that's it.
Oh, that's it? It's the whole thing?
I mean, this is just stuff we already talked about. And
Essentially, I mean, there's no calculations yet. Nothing. There's nothing preliminary.
These include those hotel-miniums, condo, whatever the heck they are, the small units, the 300, 400 square foot units that are over there. I don't see them listed.
It doesn't give you a list, it just says
Part of the condo marina.
condo.
No, they get a separate designation.
Hotel condo.
Anyway,
It says condo marina, so maybe.
are they part of that?
No, there'd be stuff like that.
The one, they're off a 2-inch line. That's the one
We
that
got the bolt slips being one, so yes, I guess that would be the hotel condos, because we got them listed.
Alright. And the other thing was, like, if people are talking about C&D docks, not the commercial, but, or B&D docks.
B dock is mostly commercial.
Okay, but
B dock is efficient.
yeah, I mean, are these people gonna have the option to opt out instead of pay for, if you're gonna make a one on a B and D back?
I wouldn't, we talked about that, that we lower the fishing boats.
Well, you just said you wanted to make
It's
them
just
all
people who have
ones.
boats.
No, that's what we are.
Yeah,
The
that's.
question is, should they be more than one if they have a commercial use or occupational license type to that?
Yeah, but what about less than one, if they're just a hose bit, I mean, that's crazy that they would pay.
Yeah.
I agree, but I agree with the fishing boats, but.
Yeah, okay, not the commercial, no, I
Well, this
guess,
is a discussion we should have when we get the report.
This is
I just wanna make sure it's in there.
and a mid-year review of what your actual utility year-to-date receipts are. With that, then, the next item, last month at your meeting, Mr. McNamee indicated that he preferred to resign as chairman and resign from the board. And the board discussed and considered replacements to finish the remainder of his term, which would be this November when that seat is open. The statute does not require you to fill it, but it gives the board the sole discretion to fill that position as opposed to the governor, who would typically fill vacant public seats. I posted a notice on the website of that vacancy and asked anyone who was interested to contact me for additional information or to provide their interest. Haven't received any, at least through the end of yesterday afternoon. But you did ask me to put it back on the agenda for today. So you're not obligated to make a decision. If you're prepared to, or you know of individuals who would be willing to serve between now and November, then this would be an opportunity for you to give me additional direction.
I think we should put it off to next month and see if we get anybody else. Let's see what we get.
Well, how long did you have it up?
Okay.
It's been up for about 10 days.
that's it?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
let's,
But I mean, it will remain up until I take it back down. It's under the announcements section. I might even put maybe a banner or something on the homepage. I don't know to what extent people, look at our website, but I did what you asked me to do, and I'll see if I can't make it a little more visible.
Okay, so right now.
Lisa, I'll stay on until you find somebody else, but I've been thinking about this other project that I've been approached on that I think would be a godsend to this community, and I've been working with them, but the sunshine laws have hamstrung me on this process. One positive thing I can think of for me no longer being on the board is if the board would allow me to continue to work with these people. I no longer would be hamstrung by the sunshine laws, and I could talk directly then to the board. Just putting that out there. I mean, because I'd like to see this thing through, but I can do it from either side.
To that point, if the board, Steve, wants to continue this item for a month, and if you were to choose to resign at next month's meeting so that you can work on this development opportunity, then that would be at your discretion a month from now.
Actually, I'll leave it up to the board. I'll let the board decide.
Let me just say one thing, please, on the sunshine law. So what cannot happen is the board cannot appoint someone to, it's fine to talk to someone off the board, but then Steve could not come back and talk to multiple people and communicate messages. So Steve, it can be done, but you just have to be very careful because we can't have someone on the outside essentially helping us skirt around the sunshine rules, if that makes sense.
Yes. Or can't we just have it?
Thank you, Lenore.
He could resign today.
At the end of today, and then we pick somebody else.
Yeah, Steve,
At the beginning of the meeting next week.
if it's your intent to go ahead and resign at the conclusion of today's meeting, then you're eligible to do that, and you would no longer be constrained by the sunshine law from that moment forward.
I'll do whatever the board prefers me to do. You tell me what you want.
I think you should resign at the end of the meeting, and that frees you up. And then you can talk to everybody you want. But, you know, you'll have your input today, and you're not gonna have any input next month anyway. Because we'll do that at the beginning of the next meeting. So your input will be done by today. To me, that makes sense.
Well, we do have an interested party that's, would be willing to step up to fill the vacancy.
Yeah, I know one. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to see.
I know. I don't know. Community knows if there's anybody else.
Lisa, what do you think I should do?
I agree with Russ.
Okay,
You
all good. That's fine.
You're not gonna have a lot of input next month anyway, so
Yeah,
might as well do it now.
I'd like to continue working on this.
Yeah, at the end of today, I mean, before that, just effective
Okay.
at the end of the meeting.
You know, Steve, I don't think it's required, but my understanding is that effective at the conclusion of the meeting today, you are going to resign. It would help me if you would at least send me an email to that effect that would then memorialize the
Okay.
conversation. And then
Will do.
I'll show the vacancy or the replacement on the beginning of next meeting when we consider adopting the agenda.
Very good.
All right. Item D today is an update on the facility that we are in. There's two items here. There is a consideration of a lease. There has been a revision to the lease that I'll tee up and then Lenore can elaborate on. And then there's a consideration of two purchases for the repairs. So the intent for the facility that we are in is to enter into a lease agreement. I believe the base rent is $1,500 per month. Initially, there were some concerns over the cost of replacement items that are necessary to make this facility usable to us, primarily a roof and also an air conditioning system that need to be replaced. So the initial lease was drafted in to where the lessor would be responsible to make any of those capital replacement items. There has been a suggestion that came through the chairman and through Zach's office that in lieu of that, any replacement items that we would choose to purchase would be applied as credits against any and all lease payments on the effective date going forward. So there are two. There is a proposal that was received by Mr. Baird for the air conditioning system. I had to confirm that this did not include sales tax, but the cost of the replacement air conditioning system and all the associated ductwork and permits is $22,682.
What size unit is that? Is that a 5 ton or 3 ton?
This is a 2 to 3.5 ton. It says, and the SEER rating is 5.25, which I believe is code, or 15.25. I'm sorry. This is air conditioning in the
That's
unit.
two, yes.
Oh, that's 2 units?
And all the ducts need to be replaced.
Oh, okay.
And
So 5 ton total.
The ducts need to be replaced.
Proposed manufacturer is York, for those who are more knowledgeable about that sort of thing. Kevin, did I miss anything on this
You
one?
said it just fine.
And then additionally, there is the cost to replace the roof here,
Roof repair.
to include a new deck and a flat roof and a membrane and any associated wood is...
That's for just the overhang that's routed out.
Yeah.
And the balance of the roof, the flat roof, they're just coating it, but it is a 5-year warranty.
And that's $16,500. There is a separate...
Wait. At 16,000 just for the flat roof or the tiles?
No, total.
For everything?
They're gonna pull
Take
all,
all the dirt, the
Whole side of the roof is rotted off over here. They're taking that all off and replacing it. And then they're gonna repair the flashing and then just coat the balance of the roof.
What about the tiles?
The tiles were done.
And those are good?
yes, it's, within this proposal, the tiles will be removed and stored and then reinstalled, and any cracked tiles will be replaced.
Wait a minute, you just told me, first I'm hearing the total roof on this whole is not included.
Okay, flat roof right up above.
Is it flat? I don't even know,
It's
I can't remember now.
So a mansard is just, for dressing. It makes the building look different, okay, instead of just a square. Okay, so that's all rotted off and running down the wall here, so they're gonna replace all that wood. To do that, they have to take all the weight of the tiles off. And then once they get that all fixed, which is about 3/4 of this side, then they're gonna reflash the roof into the tile mansard, and then to finish it off, they're gonna recoat the entire roof to give it a 5-year warranty. That's just on the area they work. Now, the smaller roofs, which are the outlays where the offices and the bathrooms are, those are fine, there's nothing wrong with them at this time.
Can we get one bid? Or?
Yeah, I'm looking for those to come out, but it's only 16.5, so.
Only?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this expense will be reimbursed by credits for our $1,500 a month.
Yeah,
So,
that's excellent. It just seems,
This one,
I don't know.
So the total of those two is $39,182, or 26 months of credits for lease payments for the lease as it is currently drafted. All other costs, utilities, insurance are the responsibility of the lesser. Is that correct? On the utility side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, can I just point one thing that Zach asked me to bring to your attention on this, and not that this would become an issue, but just to have everything out there. If you were to go ahead and approve both the lease and the 2 estimates and the work's done, if for any reason you all wanted to terminate that lease agreement, you're not gonna be able to get that money back. So that's the only downside that we could see to doing it this way, is that you're prepaying for something, but, that's within your discretion whether or not you wanna go forward with that. But
What
just
if
wanted
the
to point it out.
hotel would sell or something, or?
Yep, and maybe there is no reason, or, you can't, there would be no reason for you to terminate, but just wanna put that out there just so you have all the information.
and if it's sold, we have first right of refusal.
To buy?
And Tom is here.
Predetermined price, or?
But Tom, stand up. I think we should thank Tom for all his coordination. Gave us the building for half of what the rental is worth. I checked on it, he could rent this for much more. Yeah. I mean, granted, he would have to do the same repairs, but the fact that, he's allowed all our volunteers to come in here, we've had quite a few, he's paid.
Lisa, while we're on the subject of thanking people, I would like to really thank Frank for taking on this project. He's turned this into his own little baby. I know Dave and Kevin Baird and there's other people that I don't know all about, but there are some people who have spent a huge amount of time, but especially Frank Lee, working on the inside of the building. I know there's a lot of folks that have been working on the outside doing all that sort of stuff, and thank you all for doing that. It's wonderful to see the community stepping up in this situation, and I'm hoping that this building will give you all the space that you want to do the other things in.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Frank, Kevin, Dave.
Yep.
We have, Frank has a number of volunteers here. We had Lillian Manta help put together, doing the walls, getting all the volunteers. Thank you to all the painters and weed pullers. I can't name everybody, but people that were instrumental.
Just some further information. There are 2 separate elements of work that the board has discussed separately. One would be a new sign that would show the CID signage that is also underway at this time on the wing wall. There are some unrelated landscape improvements, and I've reviewed and approved a proposal for Soto to do some irrigation.
I'm in the meeting, what's up?
Yeah. And then
Yes.
the third area, we will incur some electrical expenses in this building. And
You want to look at what?
electrical expenses,
Okay.
I believe
Thanks.
work associated with some new service runs and some improvements to the circuit breaker panel, $4,950. Is that correct?
Yeah, that wasn't for the building, though. That was for landscaping and all that.
Again, I'm saying these are unrelated, but I'm incurring some additional repair or maintenance costs outside of the two items that I'm asking your approval.
For people who don't understand, the front lot belongs to the CID. Any improvements there are our responsibility. You know, that, the median, the two monuments on the side walls.
Yeah, that was part of the beautification process.
Correct.
Yeah, and that was, like I said, we had Liliana.
So we actually already approved those meetings ago.
Yes, but I just, for purposes of the people who are here today, we're doing some other improvement work in the immediate area as part of, trying to establish this as a community center.
Right.
So I believe the staff recommendation, see if there's additional questions, would be to authorize the revised lease to include the credit provision for repairs that are currently calculated at, like I said, 26 months worth of credits for the roof and the air conditioning system.
It doesn't include electric.
But that electric is for our.
That work is associated with the median, but it's coming, I don't even know, is there a new service panel or is the existing?
No, there isn't. Tom put in a new service panel a while back. So
Okay.
we're looking
Right.
You're probably confusing, they put a new meter across the street as well. But we didn't want to pay the cost of having to go underneath the street. Permitting would have took 3 months in its own.
Okay.
So we just decided to go off of the building, and the electric is to run all the irrigation and the lights, they were all trashed.
Yeah, they're not part of the improvements that are contemplated here, but we are coming off a service wire to get power out to the median,
Yes.
the entrance median.
So we would.
Lisa?
Yes.
While we're on this and Tom happens to be sitting there, I'm wondering if he would ever entertain the idea of a lease to own on this property.
Oh, I don't know if it's, I think that's something that we should talk to Tom privately.
Okay,
That would be something for Neil to, maybe
Yeah.
talk about.
Just to get back to the
I
roof,
think we need to hold him.
the guys lined up to do it, can do it.
Yes.
All right, so
That's
that's
for
what,
next week.
so we should just do it.
So the electric for our property out front is gonna be off the building, so it's Tom's electric, and we'll be using those.
We'll be paying to in the future, but Tom's paying it right now.
And some people, they couldn't hear. Could you just repeat what?
Well, I just asked about electricity that we're using, if it comes off the building, that belongs to Tom, electricity,
We need to work
the
that out.
hotel, and it goes out to our property, which is CID property, right on the other side of the building here.
We can look at previous, I talked to the electrician about that, we can look at previous bills and see how much we've increased and
Cost share.
pay from there. He
Okay.
said it'd be easy. He said, I know everybody thinks that because the pickleball courts are on all the time, but they're all low voltage. He said they use very little electric. But like I said, we'll look at some bills and then figure out the difference. It's not hard.
It's minimal.
The appropriate motion then would be to authorize the chairman to execute the revised lease to include the repair credit for the two items that are outlined today that are currently 26 months worth of credits against lease payments.
Is that going to create a problem if we want to look at a lease and option to buy, or?
No, we just have to first.
I think you would do that as an amendment.
We can do it.
Amendment or an addendum to the lease if the owner is, agreeable to that.
Okay.
But to clarify, so right now, the way that the lease is, the two proposals are attached as Exhibit A and Exhibit B. So if you're approving, so I just want the motion to be clear that you're approving the lease and the two proposals that are attached to it, or approving the lease but not approving the two proposals that are attached to it.
Okay.
I think we should
You know,
do it.
I make a motion that we approve the lease and the two attached proposals for the roof and the AC.
Any public comment before that?
Seconded?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we got a community center.
So, was there a proposal for me, the chairman, to sign the lease? I didn't hear that. Or was that all one?
I outlined the appropriate motion would be to authorize the chairman to execute the revised lease to incorporate the repair provision and credits against lease payments that I had calculated as 26.2 months.
All right. On to the next.
Item E today is just sort of a ministerial action. I need the board to authorize the chairman to approve Resolution 2026-1 that does call for the election of the two seats that are open this year, and to authorize the supervisor of elections to conduct your election for those two seats. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to move forward with the election.
I'll second it.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that. And then before the attorney's report, the financials, these are the financials through 4 months or as of January the 31st. A couple of highlights here. On the balance sheet through 4 months, the combined cash is right at $5.6 million, $4,234,000 in your general fund, $1,361,000 in the utility fund, combined $5,595,000 in cash. Fixed assets are right at $6,917,000. Total fixed assets are closer to 17,000, but this is net of depreciation. So the net fixed assets are 6,917,000, or combined assets at the end of January, $12,656,000. There were $79,000 of payables at the end of the month for invoices for the appropriate period in the general fund, and $19,000 in the utility fund. On the next page, on the income statement, we previously reported this to the board, but we received an initial FEMA grant for associated work that Supervisor Truckee has been assisting the staff with. $72,000 was received and deposited into your account for the FEMA grant. That is the first of what hopefully will be additional grants that flow through to the community. Almost $11,000 in interest earnings on your investments for the month of January, $10,870. And we did get $22,000 worth of non-ad valorem assessments in January. Typically, these are people that paid in the final days of December for income tax purposes, but it doesn't get received and deposited by the tax collector until the first week of January. Year-to-date non-ad valorem assessments are right at $618,000. That represents about 80% of your total anticipated revenues to date, and from a historical perspective, that's usually where you are by the end of January. We'll continue to see in February and March additional payments until taxes are due, and will be delinquent in April. On the expense side, just because we've been asked to track certain things, legal services year-to-date right at $16,000. Additionally, I'm referring to the the general fund here. Engineering services in the general fund year to date are only $3,300. The lion's share of the engineering costs are depicted on the utility statement on the following pages for work that was authorized by the board to include the well field hardening and the utility bridge crossing projects. Those engineering fees to date are $23,000 for utility matters. Otherwise, the general fund year to date is $139,000 under budget, and the utility account year to date is $113,000 under budget. Some of that's a timing, thing, and as we incur some of these additional capital costs in the third quarter of the year, then it'll catch up a little bit. But year to date, we're all in about $250,000 under budget.
Hey, one question, do we ever collect on the lawsuit?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm going to report on, but we have a hearing, we do have a hearing set for fees and costs. That's set for April 23rd.
Yeah, we're down to anything else that is
Sure.
under the attorney's report.
Sure, so let me expand on that a little bit, just so everyone's clear. So this was in front of Judge Manuelich. She has a very, very busy calendar, and the earliest dates we could get for a hearing were like June and July. So what we did is we opted to go in front of the magistrate. Mr. DaCosta agreed with that. That's how we were able to get the April 23rd. This will be a two-part set of hearings. So the first hearing will be determine whether or not we have an entitlement. Assuming that we have an entitlement, the judge agrees with us. Then the second hearing will be to determine the amount that's considered reasonable fees. And we will be required to hire an expert who will just be another attorney who will opine that our fees are reasonable. The other side will also have an expert who will attempt to opine that our fees are not reasonable. So after this hearing, there will be a second hearing, and that should be the end of everything.
Have we previously told the board what the fees are from inception to date with this? Do we have an approximate number for what those fees might be?
I hate to say off the top of my head because I don't remember. Yes, at one point I did, but maybe 60, somewhere around there, but don't.
If you'll confirm that, then we'll
Sure.
send an email to the board and let them know what the anticipated amount may be based off the fees that have been.
Sure, and so to clarify on this, we will not be able to recover fees for the entire case because this is not a case that allowed for attorney's fees. We created an entitlement to attorney's fees, but that starts at a certain date. So what I'll do is I'll give you the entirety of the fees, start to finish, and then where we were able to calculate from, and what we are hoping the court will award us. So it will be a part of the fees that were spent.
So do we pay for the lawyer to say your fees are
Yes,
fine?
but that would be part of what we would ask to be.
We would ask to
yes.
get back,
Mhm.
right?
Right, and so everyone understands in the state of Florida, there's only two ways that you can get attorney's fees. It's either that you have a contract that allows for it, which was not the case, or that a statute provides for it, which also was not the case in this. So what we did is there's another mechanism where you can essentially make an offer, and depending on whether that offer is accepted or not and how the trial comes out, that can create an entitlement, which is what we did to try to create an entitlement. So that's what we will be moving forward on. But I'll get those numbers over to Neil. If you'll make a note of that, I'll do that today. Second thing, and I've given everyone handouts. You have two handouts that are dated March 20th that say by email to Z Lombardo. These are two separate waiver. The first one, which is paperclip, is the waiver for the district. It's my understanding that you all are aware that we represent Leanne and Ronan Graziani, that this does create a conflict, a waivable conflict. So what we've prepared for you are a waiver of conflict for the Islands, and I've also given you a copy of the waiver that the Grazianis will have to sign as well. What I want to make very clear is you do not have to sign the waiver. You do not have to use us for this specific project. If you have questions about whether this is a good idea or not a good idea, you already have conflict counsel, who is Leo Salvatore, and I would suggest that if anyone is concerned about signing this, by all means, we encourage you to speak with Leo, get his advice on it. So you can agree to the waiver, you can say we want to take time to think about it, talk to Leo, that's fine too, or you can hire your completely different attorney as well. So you don't have to do this, just if you want us to be involved, we do need the conflict waiver. So I just want to be more than clear that this does not have to be done today. You can take your time and think about it, or contact Leo if that's your desire, just to get some legal advice about whether or not this is a good idea.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I've spoken with these folks, and he talked to me about working with Pierce Lombardo, and he really likes working with them. This guy feels pretty solid. I personally wouldn't have any problem with the conflict.
All right, I'm out of the loop. Who's Graziani?
Yes.
Who are they?
They're the folks who are looking at doing a deal in the Port of the Islands that I can't talk about yet.
Oh, okay. So we're all out of the loop. All
But
right.
you could,
Until then,
you
the
could,
meeting.
because we're in a public session.
Once I'm off the board, I can.
No, I mean, you could elaborate on the nature of the project and the location, because we're in a public setting.
They asked me not to.
Okay.
They want to buy property from Case.
We want to buy this property.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I heard through grapevine.
I mean, yeah. So Zach would have to represent us, or not, bottom line. Because apparently he knows of them or has worked with them before. So, I mean, you know, we don't have to decide today, we can think about it. Yeah.
We should decide today, so that, because these guys want to move quickly on this process, and I think putting this off is of no value to us.
I'm okay with this.
Doesn't matter to me. More litigation, more litigation, more litigation. You know.
It's a conflict of interest, but yet it's somebody that's wanting to improve the port, so it's really not a conflict of interest, so I'd say sign it.
Correct, we would be representing the district.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're just letting you know that we've represented them in the past and we still represent them, not on this deal, if that makes sense. We can't be on both sides, you know.
Right. So this will be a purchase of that property, but we have to, somehow, our contract comes into that with Lindsay Case.
Well,
Well, I
It
mean,
ended up being a mutual benefit, it's not like you're against us or anything.
I don't have a problem with Zach representing us, I think he would do a good job.
What?
So,
I'm okay with that.
someone make a motion.
Motion to approve the waiver, or authorize the chairman to sign the waiver.
I make a motion that we sign this waiver for.
I think we should. I'll make the motion that we should.
Russ is making a motion.
I'll make a
You
motion.
second it.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, I'll sign it.
Okay, great.
What's next?
Yep, one last thing for me, in front of you and also in the book, so I apologize for all the paper. We have the complaint against Lindsay Case that was prepared by Rachel Kurlick. This has to be filed today for statute of limitations reasons. Zach wanted me to communicate to you that once this is filed, we can then schedule a shade meeting to talk about it, but we can't schedule a shade meeting until it's filed. So does anyone have, is there any concerns about me giving Rachel Kurlick permission to go ahead and file this today? I do need a motion from you all that says she can go ahead and file this lawsuit.
For Salvatore.
No. This is, Rachel Kurlick is with Woods Weidenmiller's firm,
Okay.
and it's my understanding that they were retained for this.
The Salvatore firm does not do litigation, and this is co-counsel for purposes of suing the case interest as a result of the default of the purchase agreement. And this is the preferred and recommended litigator for the Salvatore River insurance.
And we have reviewed it and we approve of the complaint.
And I've been in on 2 conference calls on this, and I approve it. So, it's up to you guys. I would make a motion.
Okay, but if that land gets sold, is this getting worked into that litigation with this sale of the property? Because this is against case, and that's about case, so it's, the sales,
Well,
It's all
this
gonna
has
be
nothing to do with the sale.
And what I would say about that is this, in my opinion, this is the day, today is the day.
Oh, no, I
If
mean-
we're filing the lawsuit, it is today or it's not happening. So what I would say is,
Something's gonna go through, so you have to.
Right.
Yeah.
right, and I mean, if something comes up on this property with the other party, you can always dismiss the case, settle the case, whatever you all wanted to do.
We have to do this. We absolutely have to do this.
I agree.
So are you making the motion?
I'll make the motion that we proceed forward with this, case.
I second it. All in favor?
Okay, we'll let Ms. Perlich know to go ahead and file today. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay, goodness.
That takes us down to other supervisor requests that were not part of the agenda. Barring any, are there any final public comments before we adjourn to go to the open house?
Neil, actually, could I get everybody's help with something right after the adjourned meeting? If you can all just kind of stay here for 2 minutes? Thanks.
Sir, if you don't mind, I just need you to come to the front. Acoustics in here are a little hard, and we're working on that. Just stand at the podium. That way the directional mic can pick you up, and I'll need your name and where you live.
Chenna 25090 Peacock Lane. I just want to question regarding the lease agreement and the credit should be given by the improvement to the building. If by any chance he would go under any form of bankruptcy, would that be absolved? Will the lease still stand in effect for the credit?
I'm sorry, so you're asking?
So if he filed bankruptcy of any type, does that negate our credit? Basically, is the question.
I mean, I'm not a bankruptcy attorney, however, I guess it would depend on what type of bankruptcy he filed and what he was looking to do. If he was looking to, liquefy or restructure, it just depends.
I think under any of them, probably wash it out, just to be aware, that's all.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
You take that. Thanks.
Ron Westerman, Case Drive, Fort Island. I just want to commend the people that have been instrumental. Steve, you are one, along with Frank Lee, and the rest of the board and all the people who volunteered to do this work over here. It's a good test run to see if the community center works. And at a portion, a very minuscule portion of the cost if you had to build a building. I just think it's a really good move on the part of the board, and I am so happy to see all this community come together and work on this building and do the things that they've done. Okay, on the inside and the outside, because there's different groups of people involved. It's been good. I'd like to see it continue. This is a very good community we live in. And it is a community. It's not portioned out to a section here and a section there. It's community. We all live here. It's a good place. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Other comments? Yeah, can you come forward and be recognized? Yes, sir. Again, your name?
Ernie Peterson, 17 Fort Drive. The acoustics in here are not good. I only heard about half of what you guys were talking about today. Can you somehow get a sound system that we can hear? I mean, there's fewer people here today than there were last month. Because a lot of people last month walked out of here frustrated that they couldn't hear what was going on.
Leaving that to Dave. You were nice.
We can look at doing some damping in here for the echo, from sound panels, but
putting in a mixing board to prevent feedback into the Zoom is going to be very, very difficult and probably expensive. But that's a project in itself, if you want to amplify within the room and avoid feedback.
Say, Dave,
Yeah.
would it be possible if we would hang like a great big American flag in the middle and some other tapestries from the ceiling to help deaden the echo?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. We were talking about putting acoustic panels up along the sides to dampen that way, and you could also hang flags as well.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Other comments? Yes, sir.
I do. Mary Anderson, and I live at Orchid Cove. I wanted to know if there was any update on what's happening with the water that's coming down. That the restoration is doing impact our water and our community.
At this point, they have a ribbon
2 months ago.
Right, roughly a month ago, the Corps engineers and all the parties, South Florida Water Management stuff, had a ribbon cutting saying that this section of the restoration project was complete. Now they're moving on to some more crossings on the way to Miami where the water will cross through under 41 and things like that. But as of here, they're calling it complete. We have challenged that in the past. A couple of years ago, we were at a big meeting with everyone. The Corps of Engineers is not going to do anything else here. All right, so we can talk about,
But
it's not going to change.
Dan, last month we talked about sending something to amend their permit, or requesting an amendment to their permit.
We could through that other attorney.
Right.
Right.
So, and we voted to do that, if I remember correctly.
Well, we stopped that.
Yeah.
Did we stop that?
You took a pause to not provide the engagement letter or authorized engagement.
Well, we weren't going to sue them.
Right.
There was discussion about an initial $50,000 to have a outside firm and a hydrologist evaluate the permit, and that was the nature of the discussion in this table.
I thought we agreed that, you said that the state had, that you could work ahead of time sometimes to mitigate a problem. So that we were you recommended digging that channel. Right. And just do it because it's gonna prevent damage to.
If we have an emergency, we're going to do it.
We're gonna do it, and I thought that was the, that was the result.
Okay. Yeah.
And do we need to buy a skid steer to make sure we have one on hand?
But
What exactly were you looking for? What do you want to know about the project? What piece of it are you?
Well, there's going to be an impact. As the water comes down, we're going to wait till we get flooded and then we're going to worry about it?
Oh, we've been flooded already.
Exactly.
So some of the grant monies in the projects we're working on about raising the wellheads, and we raised the generator already. We have to, there's a grant for $500,000 right now for raising all the wellheads and electric out in the well field because the boxes are too low if it floods again, that kind of thing. We do have monies to make that strengthen our infrastructure out there. All right, and that'll come as soon as the grants come. Good news for the grants. Florida Department of Emergency Management called a few days ago and said that she was happy to see that about 9 grants went through FEMA in the last month, which is, they were stopped for a long time. They weren't doing anything. And she said they took 9 grants off the pile and moved them through and had hopes that ours would be, the next time she calls me, she'll be all excited. All right, so our grants are still there, they're in the pile for things like that, for improving our infrastructure out there so that if it does flood, It won't cost us the money it cost us the last time we flooded it, right? As far as water coming down the canal, that's over. You're not going to change that unless we sue the Corps of Engineers, and that doesn't guarantee you'll get anywhere. They are, we all know what the Corps of Engineers is, federal government. So trying to win that lawsuit would be very expensive and likely not to happen. But we can do the impacts like the flooding and things like that. We talked to an attorney, but they wanted $50,000 to look at it. And then they wanted to hire all the experts. They have to have an expert come in that, a groundwater expert, flooding expert, all their different experts they have to bring in to do studies and then show that we're in harm's way. And there's a tremendous cost to that. So, and no guarantees that anything's really going to change. So that's where we're at. I've been working on this for a while, and I'm not sure where to go with it. Do you spend all the money to try to get a change with the Corps of Engineers to amend some of the stuff they're doing? Kyle?
I just wanted to add some maybe reassurances. Just when we flooded most recently, last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
The pump on the east side was the only pump that was actually working. The Miller pump finished just last year. And so potentially all the water that was being pumped was going basically straight down towards us. The Miller pump going on the far west side does pump towards the farm, goes on the highway, and goes towards San Marco. So when that did happen, we were getting all the water was going east, and they weren't able to pump any water west. So they are able to pump water west now.
Yeah, they weren't done yet. At that time, they weren't done with the...
So we just, all of our meetings are transcribed.
Kyle McKenzie here for the island.
Thanks, Kyle.
So what was happening with some of that, they weren't done with the tomato farms yet, so they couldn't pump water in that direction. The Miller pump actually pumps around the tomato farms and down under 41 and heads to the west. That wasn't completed yet, so the other thing that's in our favor is that the Parks Department is going to come out to the Well Road. They've done some work out there already. They have their equipment out there. They were changing some berming and stuff out in the basin, which would change the flow of the water. The Mikazuki Indians held that up for a while, till about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. That was held up, really challenging what the Corps of Engineers are doing and things like that. Now that has been, I guess they've been satisfied, and they can continue with putting more culverts underneath our well road and working with the flow of the water, and that's supposed to help us some. The problem is that you're not going to know how much that's going to change until we get some water. No one knows, all right? But that's all things that the Parks Department is doing under some grant monies. So if they take some of the flow and move it to the east, they're doing some work out there, and they put some more culverts under our well road. That'll all help with the flow of the water now that comes through the land. So exactly what's going to happen, it's really that's a hard one to guess. The Corps of Engineers says their re-study said we'll be fine. I don't necessarily trust the Corps of Engineers. When they're over budget and way over time, and they want to get this project closed up here so they could have their ribbon cutting, it all comes into play as to why they took all our funding away. Not sure, but I guess at this point, I would say we have to see what happens, and if we flood anymore, we'll have to deal with it. But we might be okay. I can't say that we're not. That's the problem. I don't know how you answer that question until we have more information. So.
All right, Frank?
Is there any, perhaps in conclusion?
There's Frank Lee, 275 Case Drive. I want to just take one moment
every member of this CID board has been over here and working on this, and I appreciate the help. I especially wanted to thank Neil and Billy, because they make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and they keep us on schedule. They do some really great job for us. I thank you. But I would be remiss, honestly, if I did not say, Tom, without you, this community center would be a great thing. And I know it would have never happened without you. And I just wanted to say thank you, and if there's a success here, it began with you, and I appreciate you very much.
And with that, I need to advise you, your next meeting will be April the 17th.
Are we gonna change them to Thursdays from now on?
It's
Please.
supposed to be Thursday this time.
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up, because everybody said Thursday was gonna be a better day for them. Is it or isn't it?
It's a better day.
You say Thursday?
Thursday.
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Fine.
Because I thought it was a better day for everybody. Anybody in the audience got an opinion? Okay, so it'll be the 16th.
And from now on Thursdays.
So can we,
We'll be here at that 9:30.
so can we put it on our website for the next year, that it's going to be, figuring out what day it is, so that anybody that goes on the website knows right away? Great. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.